Hello, we are back at our unit today to actually take a look at the vinyl works. Hey guys, just want to share that today's episode is brought to you by Hometrust, Singapore's leading interior designer platform. So if you are starting out on your renovation journey and looking for an interior designer or some photo inspirations for a particular design in your home, come check this out. Hometrust is Singapore's community review site that offers advice and feedback based on past reviews from homeowners. Simply input your house type, comfortable budget and style that you're looking at, and Hometrust will recommend to you the top 5 ID firms based on your selection. One thing I like about Hometrust is their photo inspiration section that gives you ideas on designs for certain areas in your home that you're unsure of. Not sure where to begin? You can select from the Get Recommendations option, select your favorite styles and design features that you like to have in your home, input your own details, and Hometrust will recommend to you 3 to 5 of the most suitable ID firms for you. So check out Hometrust now in this link in the video description below and get started today.
Okay, as you can see, the vinyl installation works have already begun. I didn't manage to film much as I had to attend to something during the installation process, but I did manage to capture some of the time lapse of the remaining process. So for vinyl installation, there are a few things to take note of, one of which is the orientation, whether you want it to be horizontally or vertically laid throughout your whole home. I would suggest taking a look at your floor plan to see which is the best orientation for your home, as you want it to be flushed if possible throughout your whole home. The next thing that you can take note of is the pattern of how you want your tiles to be laid. So similarly to the previous video where I talked about the bathroom tiles in the master bathroom, you can actually select which kind of patterns that you want to have it laid. So there are some like grid, offset or herringbone, which is more commonly used in the vinyl installation works. So for our side, we stick to the offset pattern for our whole home. So these are two things that you can consider during the installation process. I'll touch a bit more on the other points in the later part of this video, so stay tuned for that. For now, I'll just leave you to enjoy the rest of the installation works.
Tell me everything, like how she makes you so happy. I'll listen patiently for you before I leave. My kind of party, no drinking, just conversations and thinking. I like the way that you're thinking, but I'm kind of shy. I don't look it. I saw the chance and I took it, but you're not looking back. Living in a hazy world, I just can't control the.
Okay, so this is what the vinyl looks like. I think they are still left with the guest room because they are going out for lunch. After that, they'll be back to finish up this portion. The master bedroom looks like this. Really love how the vinyl looks like and how it blends well with the whole layout. As you can see, it's flushed throughout the rooms, throughout our home, so do take this into consideration as well.
As you've seen in earlier clips, shown you some of the installation process. Today, Mandy is here today to take a look at the physical vinyl itself. I've sent her some of the pictures, but she has not seen the actual vinyl. But most of it has already been covered up with the protective paper. I've removed a section here just for her to take a look. Really think it blends very well with the house. Really love it. And let's go and see what Mandy thinks about it.
Oh my god, guys, I'm so happy that we made this choice. So basically our contractor, right, he gave us like a wide selection of vinyl, but in the end we go with Average, which is the slightly more expensive one. And the reason why we chose Average, right, is because the vinyl itself is very natural. So very natural in terms of the texture. It has the wood textures to it, and also like look at the barking of the wood, right? You see very nice natural barking over here. Compared to other vinyl, right? Other vinyl seems to be a bit more plastic-ish. So this vinyl really fits well with what we envision the whole flooring to be like. And one thing very meticulous about Average is that look at the silicone for this feature wall. So silicone colors, right, are like white color, right? But they actually put like brown color to it. So this brown color silicone, right, really blends well with our feature wall. So these are really details that we are looking at when we are choosing this vinyl. So I'm really so happy that we made the right choice.
Okay guys, I have to share with you some of the tips that I've learned during the vinyl installation process from the installers. So firstly, when you first select your vinyl, you have to decide whether you want to have skirting or no skirting. Right? So what is skirting, right? It's actually this like extra piece of the plastic that they lay across the whole circumference of the home that protects the walls lah. So there are some good and bad points about having skirting, which I already did some research online. So just to share, some of the good things that they did mention is that it actually protects the wall. So let's say if you have like kids or something at home, right? Some of the toy car, they like to push, right? So it goes and hits the wall. So sometimes it might cause like some of the paint to chip if it actually hits the wall too much. Then anything that knocks against the walls, especially like if you're pushing something that might affect the walls, like your robot vacuum, right? So it may actually go in and bump into the walls. So this is something that might cause it to chip. And then also one more thing about the skirting, that why I don't like it is because currently my home has it lah. Then what I face is that I cannot fully flush the furniture against the wall. So there will be this amount of gap which the skirting sticks out that my furniture cannot like fully flush lah. So in this case, right, dust accumulates behind the back of the furniture, and it can be quite troublesome to clean behind the furniture as well. So every time I got to shift up just to clean the dust. Whereas if I have it fully flushed, I don't really have to worry about this. I just have to clean the surface of the furniture itself. So this is actually one of the main things that why I choose not to have skirting in my home. Yeah, then another thing is it saves space. Like imagine like this amount of space is like dead around the whole house, right? My house is already not the biggest, so having this additional amount of space that I can fully flush the furniture would make slightly a bit of a difference. So that's one of the things that why we considered to have the skirting as well. So on top of skirting, there's also one thing that for vinyl you have to decide, which is the transition. I don't know what you call this, but how it actually transits to the next part of the house. So for our case, the kitchen side is using tiles, whereas the living room and the bedrooms are using vinyl. So for this section here, usually there will be like a gap, right? So for our case, the installers told us that they can just do it like this. Usually, if you take a look at some of the vinyl, there will be like a metal strip that goes across here, or the trimming, what they call it lah. So it's like a T-joint, right? Yeah, I think the term is joint lah. So this T-joint will be here that actually helps to cover up some of the gaps between the vinyl and the tiles lah. So that's one of the things that you have to choose as well. They have a metal type and also like the wood or the plastic type lah. So these are the two options that you can go for lah. So one more thing I want to show you. Okay, during the vinyl, right, the installation. Okay, so over here we installed like a trimming in this section over here because there's like a slight curb or drop down from the toilet tiles to the vinyl itself. So we concluded that we didn't want to have like this gap because we may actually kick onto it and the side of the tiles doesn't really look very nice. So we asked them to lay for us this trimming here that removes that awkward gap and it's more smooth in a way, right? You won't kick onto it. Yeah, so this is something that you have to consider as well, whether you want to have this extra trimming or not. So for our bedrooms, we don't have this problem. If you are going to consider two different kinds of like vinyl flooring colors, right? Then there will be like the same thing also like you will need to have something that transits or having this joint that joins between the living room and the bedroom vinyl itself. Yeah, so I think that's mainly the important things that I learned from this installation. Hope it can be useful to you because yeah, if you don't plan properly, then if you don't come on site, right, and once you come, it's already done. So these are some of the things that you have to take note beforehand or be aware of so that you can tell your installer. So we come to the end of today's episode on the vinyl installation. We hope you learned a little bit more about the vinyl. It's not just about choosing the design, the horizontal or vertical kind of layout that you want, and the pattern, for example, like you want to have it laid in the leather or herringbone. There are additional details that you can take note of if you want to.
Like the silicone colors and also the trimming and also the transit between tiles and vinyl and also the T-joints, right?
Yeah, so once you have all of these points, you can actually inform your ID or contractor so that the installers can take note and do it for you to avoid any sort of like miscommunication or double job to rectify it lah. Yeah, so I guess that's pretty much about the vinyl installation that we have to share. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
My kind of party, no drinking, just conversations and thinking. I like the way that you're thinking, but I'm kinda shy. I don't look it. I saw the chance and I took it.